Today, Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. It's about 10 a.m., I believe. We present the official results of our CXC suite of examinations. That includes our CCSLC examination, our CXC examination, CAPE examination, and our CVQ examination. Before we continue, we are going to commence with the national anthem. So I invite you to stand as we do the national anthem. Thank you very much. Well, I was going to say you may be seated, but we should continue standing as I invite Mrs. Nadia Farrell-Pinard to open us in prayer, and she's the head of adult education. Mrs. Pinard.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for allowing us to be here this morning. We ask you to bless this proceeding, that it may run smoothly. We thank you for the Ministry of Education. We ask that you bless the teachers and students in this new academic year, that they may succeed, that everything may work out to the betterment of the country. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Mrs. Pinard. You may be seated. Honorable Minister for Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence, Mrs. Alfred, the Cabinet Secretary and the Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Ms. Prevost, our Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mrs. Finella Wenham Shepherd, if I pronounced it correctly, Shepherd, the Assistant Chief Education Officer, Mr. Gist, our CXC Local Registrar, Mrs. Celestine, Senior Education Officer for Secondary Schools, Mrs. Teet, other senior officers of the Ministry of Education, or other official supervision and support staff of the Ministry of Education. We welcome you here this morning. The principals of our secondary schools, teaching staff of secondary schools, other invited guests. We have Mrs. Nadia Farrell-Pinard, who is the head of adult education. We welcome you here this morning. The students of our secondary schools who are here this morning, and some of them are our top performing students, as well as their parents who are here. The media, and we have persons listening on live streaming. We welcome all to the official release of results of, as I indicated earlier, our CXC examination suite. Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson. The CXC examination suite for the June 2023 cycle. And as I indicated, this comprises 4 major examinations: CCSLC examination, CSEC examination, CAPE examination, and our CVQ, that's the Caribbean Vocational Qualifications results. We are delighted once again this year to welcome all our stakeholders in education to the release of our results. As I always indicate, the Ministry of Education assesses system impact through various mechanisms. And one of them is our internal indicators of access and participation, That is the data that we collect on student access to schools and how well students do at school, including the attendance data as well. We do have the national assessment performance data. You would have seen just a couple months ago, we released the results of our grade 6 national assessment, and we were delighted that many of our students did very well. And part of our system efficiency measures is also our regional examination suite, which is provided by the CXC. And that is important because it gives us a true indication as to how competitive we are as a country with other member states in the region. We are delighted again that our students have performed well. And you will hear a lot about that by our speakers to follow. I want to say that at the beginning. It's normally at the end, but I really want to say that at the beginning. I really want to thank our principals, not only of our secondary schools, but also the primary schools, because they're preparing the students for the secondary experience. Our principals across the island, our teaching staff, who have been doing a remarkable job by and large. As with any organization, you will find persons who can improve, but by and large, we are very satisfied with the performance of our teachers. And they deserve a round of applause for that. The supervision and support staff of the Ministry of Education, who do a remarkable job at ensuring that the system continues to perform. Our parents who are supporting us, our stakeholders, have been doing a great job. And I really want to congratulate all our students for excellent work over the past years, and they need a round of applause for that as well. Notwithstanding the excellent performance of our students, there are some areas which we need to focus on as a country in terms of our examination, especially our regional examinations, CXC. One of those that we have flagged internally, and I need to say it formally as well, is our students' SBA. How our students do in the SBA and how serious they take the SBA. You would have noticed now that many, or most I should say, of CXC, our subjects have an SBA component. And an SBA is an opportunity for students to do very well at the exams, because what it does, it gives the students, the assignment gives students an opportunity to complete at their own time and pace. And they have pretty much almost 2 years to do that. They start at 4th form. And what we have recognized is that at the end of the cycle, when students are ready to submit, a lot of students have not completed the SBA. And that is a concern to the Ministry of Education. We have met with our principals, we have talked to them about it. We intend as a ministry to implement some structures to facilitate the successful completion of SBAs. And one of those that we will be doing is setting benchmarks for students throughout the 2 years from 4th form, when target points at what time they're supposed to submit various components of the SBA. So at the end of the cycle, they would have completed the SBA for that particular subject. It's important that we do that, because in many instances, if a child does very well in the SBA, they're well on their way to getting a 1 for the subject area. And we allow that we are squandering this opportunity, I must say. So we will be a lot more vigorous in our management and supervision of this component of the examination. And I want to call on both our schools and our parents to support us in that regard, because we want our parents to be monitoring what the students do. A lot of the components of the SBA, they do at home, you know, and you need to ask them, what are you doing? The child will say, well, Mom, I have to go somewhere to get some information for my SBA. When they return, ensure that they have the information and they have done what they have to do, because some of them use it as an opportunity, you know, not to do what they have to do. So we need to be a bit more responsible in that. And I'm calling on parents and our teaching staff within the schools to support us in that regard. Another thing I must mention as well is the fact that, and I always indicate that over the years, is that our students do well, notwithstanding their participation in various extracurricular and co-curricular activities. Actually, the students who participate in those activities even do much better than students who don't. So many persons have the notion that students need to stay in their books and don't participate. The more they participate in school activities, in school life, it's the better they perform. And that is a fact. So we're encouraging parents again to ensure that the students participate in clubs, in sporting activities, and whatever, because it gives them some attributes that would allow them to do well in exam, that of discipline, resilience and, even thinking skills, critical thinking skills and so on. They're very, very, very useful in examination. I need to also indicate that whereas we are celebrating generally students' performance on the formal curriculum based on the CXC syllabus, we need to find a way as a country to benchmark other contributions by students. And too often we celebrate students, and we have started doing that because we do a lot in terms of the CVQ and our TVET results. But I'm thinking more of other areas that are important to students, that are important to the schools, but we don't often celebrate them. And we speak of students who are they're students who keep the school alive. Yeah, they are the life of the school. They participate in the leadership activities. They are in all the clubs at the schools. They volunteer, the volunteerism aspect and so on. We celebrate that during graduation, but we don't have any way to benchmark that contribution. What does it tell the student? It is just important for graduation, but not important for life. These are life skills. And therefore, as a ministry, we're going to start a discussion as to how we can, it might start nationally and then it will have to go regionally at some point because CXC will take the cue from the member states. But we need to find ways to benchmark the real-life contributions that students make in school that we don't feature in assessment results. And that is important to us as well. We are elated at the results this year, and you will hear a lot about our performance compared to the region and the different subject areas. But I really want to welcome you here this morning, and once again ask that our stakeholders work with the Ministry of Education. I will always say that together we can do a lot. We can do more if we work together. If you have challenges as stakeholders, and I'm speaking not to the audience here only, but those listening, have a chat with the Ministry of Education. Talk to your schools, because the school is part of the Ministry of Education, and they will get the message to us. Work with your students, work with your schools, because you can only achieve success if we work together. I really want to welcome everyone here this morning. We are delighted that our students have been doing well and our schools have been doing well, and we urge you to continue working with us. As we continue, I will now call on Ms. Celestine, who has been doing a remarkable job at her desk, responsible for CSEC examinations. Ms. Celestine she works 24 hours, but she has been very, very motivated, and she has been doing an excellent job. Ms. Celestine will present an analysis of this year's results. Ms. Celestine.
Thank you, Dr. Blaise. Minister for Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training, and National Excellence, Honorable Octavia Alfred. Cabinet Secretary and Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training, and National Excellence, Ms. Karen Prevost. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mrs. Finella Wenham Shepherd. Chief Education Officer, Dr. Jeffrey Blaise. Assistant Chief Education Officer, Mr. Robert Gist. SEO Secondary Schools, Mrs. Nazarene Williams-Stitt. Other Ministry of Education officials, the listening public, to include principals, teachers, our dear students and parents, Head of Adult Ed, Mrs. Ferrell, the media houses represented here, and persons logged on to the live stream. A pleasant good morning to all. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here at this gathering to give a praise report on the success of our nation's children. Before we start viewing the slides, let me give a brief overview on the administration of the 2023 exams. The administration of the 2023 exams had its fair share of excitement. The timetable was extended by 1 week to facilitate e-testing for both CAPE and CSEC. Candidates were exposed to the new e-testing platform called Surpass, which made its debut in the CSEC January 2023 exam sitting. The packaging of exact amount of exam booklets per subject forced me to cut the accommodation of academic students in the Roseau catchment area. There was an increased risk in paper exposure as we experienced two breaches. One, a leakage of CSEC Math Paper 2 and distribution of the exam in the digital space on May 17, 2023. CXC launched an investigation immediately and successfully identified the source of the leaked paper. CXC decided to use a modified approach like in 2020, where they combined the SBA and Paper 1 only for school candidates, and the SBA and Paper 3-2 for the private candidates. CXC also mandated same-day delivery to all centers of the CSEC Mathematics Paper 1 on June 13 for increased security of the administration of Paper 1. An alternate CSEC Mathematics Paper 1 was developed and administered online on July 7 to candidates in Jamaica due to the stolen cabinet, in Trinidad due to flooding experienced, and in Guyana due to local government elections that took place on the date of the exam. The investigations are ongoing in Jamaica. We also had stolen scripts and question papers in a fireproof cabinet at a center in Jamaica on June 14, 2023. Consequently, CXC asked all local registrars to ensure greater security at the territorial level. So that put a little more pressure on me. At this point, I want to thank my team of 75 conscientious, dependable, and cooperative chief invigilators, center supervisors, and invigilators who assisted me in the management of the security of our papers in 2023. I definitely could not have done it alone. We also had some irregularities, but my efficient team, they handled 3 cell phone confiscations, 2 at the CSEC level, 1 at the CAPE level, and they identified 1 attempted cheating at the CAPE level. Let me remind the public that CXC has 0 tolerance on the presence and or use of cell phones in the exam room. Candidates also faced varying levels of hardships in different territories. So we had 19 students who perished in the fire at 2 centers in Guyana, and our hearts still go out for the families of those students. St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines had to deal with hurricane force winds during the exam season. Torrential rains caused flooding in Trinidad and Tobago and swamped some of the exams. Dominica had 6 cases of grave illness and medical reports were submitted on behalf of the candidates. 1 candidate was even authorized by a medical practitioner to take exams while admitted at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. So my office tries utmost best to accommodate all students so that none will be left behind and they can all receive the mark that they deserve. As we go through the slides, please bear in mind that the results are preliminary. And we are in the middle of the query and review period, so the statistics shown are subject to change. Let's begin with the analysis of the 2023 CCSLC results. 9 secondary schools submitted candidates for 2023 CCSLC exams. There was a total of 688 school candidates, 388 males and 300 females. That represented 136 more students than in 2022. The center where adolescents learn to love and serve, CALS, and the Achievement Learning Center submitted a sum of 4 candidates in 2023. Exams were done in 7 different subject areas with schools attempting a minimum of 2 to a maximum of 4 CCSLC subjects. The Achievement Learning Center was the only center to attempt digital literacy at the CCSLC level in 2023. On this slide, we can see that the overall percentage pass in the 2023 CCSLC English exam is lower than that of 2022. Slide, please. And the quality of the scores have improved. The Arthur Waldron SDA Academy, St. Martin Secondary School, and the Center Where Adolescents Learn to Love and Serve, the CALLS, they all scored 100% pass rate in English Inc. Both the St. Martin Secondary Schools and CALLS joined the race in 2023. The Arthur Waldron Seventh-day Academy has maintained the coveted position of top on island in CCSLC English when compared to 2022. The Portsmouth Secondary School is the most improved school when compared to the score obtained in 2022. Commendable efforts were also made at the PHL Secondary School, the Dominica Grammar School, and the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School in CCSLC English. Mathematics seem to always be a challenge for our students, but this can be remedied by introducing new approaches and strategies in the teaching and learning process. Again, the St. Martin Secondary School and the Arthur Waldron SDA Academy obtained 100% pass rate. The sharing of best practices would be beneficial to pull others up the ladder. Castleborough Secondary School and PHR Secondary School have shown marked improvement in CCSLC mathematics in 2023 when compared to 2022. Whatever techniques were introduced, continue to use them while other strategies are being explored. In 2021, the Castleborough Secondary School offered digital literacy and received a 100% pass rate. It didn't stop there. They also featured in the top 10 positions in the region in that year. This year, the Achievement Learning Center attempted digital literacy and obtained 100% pass rate. Next slide, please. What do these statistics suggest to my ministry? This subject is manageable and quite relevant in our current technological era. I am therefore pleading with principals to add digital literacy at the CCSLC level to your curriculum and encourage students to take the subject. This will help our young people to conduct themselves better when making use of the internet and social media. This subject is a necessity at all schools. With respect to the 4 other CCSLC subjects, on the next slide, there was an overall improvement in French and social studies. French seems to be always the most popular among these 4 subjects. As you can see, the number sitting is the greatest. This next slide shows a summary of candidates' overall performance at the 2023 CCSLC exams. So we have 557 out of the 688 candidates, which represents 81%, being successful at the 2023 CCSLC exams. The pie chart shows that 131 or 19% of the candidates obtained mastery only in all subjects. 206 candidates, or 30%, were deemed competent only in all subjects that they attempted. 89 candidates, or 13%, scored a mix of mastery and competent in all subjects sat. and 131 or 19% received mastery or competent in some subjects. The orange section in the pie shows only 69 candidates, which represents 10%, who failed the CCSLC exams in 2023, while 62 candidates or 9% registered candidates who never showed up for the exams. So that is something we have to work on for future exams. So in summary, the Arthur Waldron SDA has again maintained its 100% pass in CCSLC English. St. Martin Secondary Schools and Calls took up the challenge this year and also received a 100% pass. Portsmouth Secondary, PHL Secondary, Dominica Grammar School, and ITSS have improved in performance in English. St. Martin Secondary and Arthur Waldron SDA obtained a 100% pass in mathematics. Castlebrew Secondary and PHL Secondary have shown improvement in mathematics in 2023. Arthur Waldron SDA and St. Martin Secondary School have shown outstanding performance in both CCSLC English A and CCSLC Mathematics in 2023. A total of 556 students, or 80.8%, have attained mastery or competent levels in the 2023 CCSLC exams. These figures represent 94 more students when compared to 2022. This indicates more wonderful grades in the next 2 years with proper nurturing of these young minds. Let's turn the page now to our 2023 CSEC results. 15 secondary schools submitted candidates for the 2023 CSEC exams. A total of 753 school candidates, which consists of 341 males and 412 females. 36 students more than last year when 717 students sat the exam. An increase of 31 males and 5 females. We have a total of 227 private candidates who took the exams, 56 males and 171 females. That represents 46 more privates than in 2022, an increase of 18 males and 28 females. A total of 980 candidates wrote the CSEC exams in 31 subject areas. This year, there were no music candidates. E-testing was compulsory for paper 2, EDPM, and paper 3-2, IT. All our paper 1 exams were e-tested, and they were done successfully on our new Surpass platform. The modified approach was used for CSEC Mathematics, paper 1 plus SBA for school students, and paper 1 plus paper 3-2 for our private candidates. This next slide gives us a bird's eye view of the absenteeism rate per subject. Candidates were present for all papers for subjects like additional mathematics, agricultural science double award, EDPM, and theater arts. Everybody was present and on time for those subjects. But then we have 27 CSEC subjects shown here that were affected by absenteeism. That is way too many. The subjects most affected were mathematics, English A, human and social biology, and principles of business. Parents and guardians, I call on you to ensure that your child or ward attends every exam session on the dates and times indicated on the exam timetable. Since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, CXC expects 100% submission of SBA for all subjects with an SBA component. Failure to submit an SBA will result in getting ungraded. This graph shows the percentage of SBAs submitted by schools. the Dominica Community High School, St. Mary's Academy, St. Martin Secondary School, Isaiah Thomas Secondary School, the Orion Academy, and the St. John's Academy all met CXC's requirements by submitting SBA scores and samples for all of their candidates. That is commendable. Good job. Other schools, take note, take a page from that. I know it was not easy to get all students to cooperate, but you have demonstrated that it is an attainable goal. Hats off to the principals and teachers. The green bars indicate the schools for which less than 5 SBAs were not submitted in 2023. So that occurred at Arthur Waldron SDA Academy, the Convent High School, Castlebrew Secondary School, Dominica Grammar School, the Academic School of Learning, and the Goodwill Secondary School. I applaud your efforts. The Goodwill Secondary School deserves special recognition considering their peculiar situation and the conditions in which teaching and learning had to be meted out. Bravo! You certainly demonstrate what it takes to be truly resilient. I pray for the speedy construction of your school where you will continue to thrive in your own space. I challenge the remaining 5 schools to step up in 2024. Insert SBA development in your timetable to get quality work done during normal school hours. No SBA means the candidate has failed the subject. So let's all ensure that each child succeeds by giving them a level playing field, meaning they should all enter the exam room with marks on the table. The preliminary results show a 0.8% decrease in the overall percentage pass of students receiving grades 1, 2, and 3 in the 2023 CSEC exams when compared to 2022. However, our 2023 performance at the end of the pandemic era is similar to our performance at the start of the pandemic era in 2020. Please note that CXC is going back to normal as per syllabus requirements for both CSEC and CAPE in 2024. In terms of Dominica's overall performance at the 2023 CSEC exams, the following are noteworthy. 257 candidates, or 34%, passed 5 or more subjects, including mathematics and English A. This comprises of 102 males and 155 females. A total of 468 candidates, or 62%, passed 5 or more subjects with grades 1, 2, or 3 in either mathematics and or English A. This made up a total of 173 males and 295 females. 153 candidates, or 20%, passed neither mathematics nor English A. That is 98 of our males and 55 females. 274 candidates, or 36%, passed 1, 2, 3, or 4 subjects in total with either grades 1, 2, or 3. And that accounts for 163 males and 111 females. 42 candidates, or 0.05%, left our secondary school doors in 2023 with 0 subjects. And this one is a little heartbreaking. 28 males and 14 females fall in that category after 5, 6, 7 years of high school. This is sad. 36 students comprising of 7 males and 29 females from 11 secondary schools obtained 6 or more grade 1s in the 2023 CSEC exams based on the preliminary results. And you will hear more from our minister on that. This table indicates candidates' performance by subject. You heeded last year's call to aim for majority of the CSEC subjects to be in the upper row, ranging from 80 to 100% pass. And as you can see, there are only 9 subjects left in the bottom row. Well done, Dominica. Very good. However, the subjects in the under 60% category are still concerning. The modern languages are critical for regional ranking. In addition, the world is now a global village, and being able to communicate is of utmost importance. Mathematics is also one of the key subject areas every student should, and maybe I should even say must, pass. I really thought we would have benefited from the modified approach this year. Hence the reason to ensure that a quality SBA is submitted so you can maximize on the marks. As we take a closer look at our performance in CSEC English A on the next slide, the shape of the graph alone begs a round of applause. I don't think I have to say much on that. So the next table that you will see spells out the performance of candidates at our various secondary schools. The Wesley High School is the most improved school in CSEC English A in 2023. Bravo! They moved from 57% in 2022 to 100% in 2023. Excellent job. They are followed closely by the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School, who also made a big stride from 68.2% to 97.3%. And the Orion Academy moved also from 66.7% to 90.9%. Way to go! Congratulations to the Arthur Waldron SDA for capturing 100% pass in English A. If we observe the first 2 columns with digits, you will notice that at Convent High School, St. Mary's Academy, the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School, the Orion Academy, and the Dominica Community High School, only 1 candidate failed English A. Isn't that good? That's excellent. Awesome. This is amazing. In comparison to performance in 2022, there has been marked improvement in English A at the Arthur Waldron Secondary SDA, the Wesley High School, the Convent High School, the Isaiah Thomas Secondary, the Orion Academy, the St. Martin Secondary School, the Castlebrew Secondary School, the Pierre Charles Secondary School, Dominica Grammar School, Portsmouth Secondary School, and our Goodwill Secondary School. When compared to the region, 12 out of our 15 schools have clearly performed above the regional average of 78% for English A. Something good is happening here. Our overall performance of 85.7% also surpasses that of the region by 7.7%. This next graph shows that although we performed below the regional average of 43% in mathematics, we scored higher than in 2022. This reassures us that the many workshops conducted by the Ministry of Education is slowly taking us to our desired position, so there is hope. When we look at individual schools' performance in the table, we should all be wooed by the outstanding performance of the Wesley High School. They moved from 7.1% pass in 2022 to 64.3% in 2023. That is a mighty leap. Job well done, teachers. Let me draw your attention to the Orion Academy, who performed just as well. They moved from 33.3% to 73.7%. Commendations are in order for both schools. The Castlebrook Secondary School, the Arthur Waldron SDA Academy, the Portsmouth Secondary School, the Dominica Grammar School, and the Goodwill Secondary School have shown marked improvement also. The St. Mary's Academy, the Orion Academy, the Wesley High School, the Convent High School, and the Castlebrook Secondary School must be commended for their performance above the regional average of 43%. The final column in green, it shows schools' performance when the modified approach was first applied in 2020 at the start of the pandemic. In that year, CXC also resorted to SBA plus paper 1. So I put it there just so that we can compare the performance, and we can see that Orion Academy and Wesley High School outshined their 2020 performance in mathematics. And our Goodwill Secondary School shows some level of stability in both years. All right, when we compare performance in mathematics by gender, girls outperformed the boys in 2023. This year, we have more females registered than males, so that may be the reason. And this bar chart shows that in 2023, girls captured more acceptable grades 1, 2, and 3 than our boys. Although the girls got more grade 4s, the boys obtained more of the grades 5s and the 6s, so we need to pull them up a bit. They need to be pulled up, okay? When Dominica's performance is compared to that of the region in the next slide, we stand tall. This slide shows a few examples. Yes, look at it. The red is Dominica, the yellow is the region. Oh yes, we are way above. Dominica has performed overall 4.2% above the regional average in 2023. Over the past 5 years, we were struggling with social studies, and we could count the number of grade 1s on one hand. The Ministry of Education investigated possible contributors and took a stance on individual submission of SBA for the social sciences in 2023. Today, I am proud to announce that Dominica has captured 16 grade 1s in social studies. We are also elated to receive 31 grade 1s in Caribbean history. Geography, the third subject in that group, however, has backslidden. So the Ministry of Education is now challenged again to carry out investigations to restore Geo back to its rightful position. So you can move to the next slide, and then the next. For the science-related subjects, we saw improvements in integrated science and chemistry when compared to 2022. In 2022, those were our 2 weakest areas. This year, they are our 2 brightest areas. So some work was done. Thank you, teachers, principals, and students for your hard efforts. For the humanities-related subjects on the next slide, when compared to 2022, we improved in Caribbean history, English B, and social studies. Excellent work. For the technical and vocational subjects on the next slide, performance has improved in textiles, clothing and fashion, industrial technology building, industrial technology electricals, and technical drawing when compared to 2022. Textile, clothing, and fashion got 100% pass this year. And I pause to remember our dear teacher, Mrs. Cecilia Williams, affectionately known as CISO, who was a very experienced and skillful teacher in the area of textile, clothing, and fashion. She's not even there to see the fruit of her labor. My ministry is deeply saddened by her passing. May her gentle soul continue to rest in peace. As you can see, we maintained performance in family and resource management. And electricity took a high jump from 65.6% to 85.2%. That is excellent work done by our students here. On the next slide, you will see a chart which reveals some interesting statistics about TVET. It indicates to us that TVET is thriving at our schools with the limited resources that we have. When the fully equipped Center of Excellence in TVET will become operational at the Goodwill Secondary School, I promise you Dominica will excel even further. The diagram shows that this year, 91%, which represents 310 males, and 96%, which represents 396 females, left our secondary schools with skills in at least one TVET subject. That is awesome. They deserve a round of applause. Dominica needs a skilled workforce to help boost the economy. All schools are encouraged to offer at least one TVET subject so we can produce well-rounded individuals. Again, girls captured the majority of grade 1s. On our next slide, you will see that they captured the majority of grade 1s and 2s in the TVET subjects, while the boys scored most on the grade 3s. Job well done, girls. Excellent. For the business subjects, we see improvement in all areas except EDPM. Now, usually EDPM gets 100% pass. I don't know what happened this year. So everyone else improved except our EDPM subjects. Economics is the most improved business subject in 2023, though the registration numbers are still tiny. It forms part of the cognate group with principles of accounts and principles of business. So I encourage our principals to include it in the curriculum, because when students take that on, it's not like they have an additional SBA to prepare. If they do economics, POA, POB, they submit just one SBA. All right? In the other subjects category, on the next slide, performance was improved in all areas except additional mathematics. So that is also good. Currently, we have just one school offering additional mathematics, and I'm sure we have math brains all over the island. So that's another area. It forms a cognate. If students do both additional mathematics and mathematics, they submit just one SBA. So identify your brains and offer it to them so that they can get an additional subject. Information technology is soaring in the 90s, thanks to the efforts of two of our fallen soldiers, Mr. Telemark and Mr. Angol. Their presence will be greatly missed at our schools. May their souls rest in peace. Theater arts was the most improved subject this year. As you can see, our numbers are still small. I want to commend the efforts of Ms. Vincia Lando at the Pierre Charles Secondary School, the only school offering drama on island for over a decade with 100% pass rate. The Goodwill Secondary School and the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School have been offering the dance component and are doing a fantastic job at it. Kudos to Ms. Verna Graham and Mrs. Della Botswain. Excellent job. Visual Arts is doing quite an impressive entree with Mr. John Baptist and Miss Litham. Keep up the good work. I therefore encourage principals to introduce the arts at their schools. We have many trained and qualified people, persons who are knowledgeable, persons with a lot of grade ones. Seek them out and let them help you introduce the arts at your school. This is very important. All right, so that's it for CSEC. Let's now proceed to our CAPE results. A total of 144 candidates wrote the CAPE exams in 2023. 87 females and 57 males. This represents 8 more candidates than 2022. Candidates attempted 17 double unit subjects and 9 single unit subjects, a total of 43 out of the 67 units offered by CXC. 115 candidates, or 80%, passed a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 8 units with acceptable grades 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. This represents just 1% more than 2022. 27 candidates, or 18%, did not pass any of the units registered for. I don't know what went wrong here. So Dominica's overall performance at the CAPE level is 51.73%, which is below the regional average of 92.15%. In terms of CAPE SBA submission on our next slide, the Business Training Center registered 9 candidates and submitted 100% of SBAs, while the Academic School of Learning registered 128 candidates and submitted 99% of their SBAs. Only 1 unit was not uploaded for 1 candidate. So our tertiary institutions are well on par with our secondary schools. Very well. Although our overall percentage pass is way below that of the region, we passed 4 units with a whopping 100% pass in Pure Math, Units 1 and 2, Tourism, Unit 1, and Information Technology, Unit 2. That is commendable. This next graph shows that females dominated the scores at all levels except for grade 6, where the number of failing grades was equal for males and females. I am pleased with the fact that CAPE subjects are now being introduced at the Dominica State College, and I am looking forward to a wider range of subjects being introduced in the near future. Last but not least, for our CVQ results, we have 5 female candidates who were registered for 2023 CVQ in Garment Production Level 1 at the Goodwill Secondary School, and all 5 girls were deemed competent and will receive their CVQ certificates. Let me congratulate all our candidates on their outstanding performance at all levels. Let me also remind the public that the query period is now open till September 22, 2023. On the next slide. Candidate receipts must be submitted for upload to the ORS for all script reviews, and a bank draft of US $30 or Barbados $60 must accompany the candidate receipts. Let me inform you also that registration has also started for the 2024 exam season. There are 2 distinct deadlines. Those of you wishing to write exams in January 2024, registration is now opened until October 16. And those of you planning to take the exams in May, June 2024, registration is opened till November 30. Make yourself count. There will be pre-testing activity in the month of November for both CAPE and CSEC in selected subjects. The final draft of all CAPE and CSEC SBAs should be submitted in the month of March 2024. Principals will set their internal deadlines and provide timelines as to the submission of those SBAs. But all candidates preparing for May-June, your deadline for the submission of SBAs should be in the month of March 2024. Let me also take this opportunity to remind the public that the following syllabuses have been revised: CSEC Integrated Science and Social Studies, CAPE Accounting, Animation and Game Design, Entrepreneurship, Financial Service Studies, Integrated Mathematics, Literatures in English, and Management of Business. And on the next slide, we have syllabuses that have been amended: CSEC Caribbean History, CSEC Office Administration, and CAPE Physical Education and Sports. Be sure that you are using the correct syllabus in preparation for exams. Applications are now open for persons who would like to serve as invigilators in the 2024 exams. If you are young, healthy, energetic, you are computer savvy, feel free to come see me so that you can be part of my team for 2024. I wish the 2024 candidates a successful year. I anticipate even better results. Thanks for your kind attention.
Yeah, well, thanks to Ms. Celestine, Local Registrar, CXC, for a very comprehensive presentation and analysis. I'm sure that you will get a lot from that, a lot of newsworthy material, and it shows that our students have been excelling. I'm going to call now on the Honorable Minister, who will give remarks and present the highlight the top performing students. Honorable Minister.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like you to please stand with me as we observe a moment of silence on behalf of our 2 secondary school teachers who just passed on while preparing for reopening. Some of them were already down for orientation, down for fixing music that morning. You can imagine you waiting for your teacher to put out the speaker and the call comes that he didn't get up this morning. So let's take a pause for Mr. Telemac and Mr. Angol. Thank you very much. You may have your seats. Cabinet Secretary and Acting PS in the Ministry of Education, Ms. Prevost. Acting Chief Education Officer, Dr. Blaise. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Honorable Wenham Shepherd. CXC Registrar, Ms. Celestine. Education Officer, Secondary School, Mrs. Stitt. Head of the Adult Education Department, Ms. Pinard. Parents, other Ministry of Education officials, parents, students, the media. This morning I am happy and I am seeing some students here that I shook hands with at different graduations. I remember I told you I was going to hold those graduation programs and looking out for names. You know, I am not finished because now I get the results, I'm going back because I would want to know what happened if you received the award for POB and you didn't get a 1 or at least a 2, I come in. No, I mean, we have to pay attention to these things. Because if at your school level you get an award, top award for POB, and you fail POB at CXC, not in a bad way, somebody needs to be asking if we're going to query or what was wrong with that student or what is wrong with the teacher. I mean, we can't shy away from these things. These things do not happen very often, but you pay attention to them when it happens. This morning I have my friend with me. Her name is Emily Pierre. She used to be the Minister of Education in Grenada. Now she does consultancy in youth work and education. She's in transit, and so we spend a little time together. The Ministry of Education, give her a clap now, yes. Thank you. The Ministry of Education is pleased to present the results of the 2023 examinations for CSEC, CAPE, CVQ, CCSLC. I don't even know what to say because Ms. Celestine gave us everything, right? This year's results demonstrate that our students have sustained their general performance levels while they have gained in several subject areas. We have once again witnessed a performance by Dominican students which is above the regional average. Don't make me ask you to clap. When you see bad things about young people, so when I say it, we must clap, because if it's an ugly thing, it spreads. Remember our theme this year in the Ministry of Education: pay attention to details and activate your affective domain, lift people up. So when it's a good thing, spread it. If it's not a good thing, let it end with you. I wish to thank our secondary school principals, teaching staff, supervisors, and support staff within the Ministry of Education, our parents and guardians, our general stakeholders, and most importantly, our students for once again making us proud. This year, we are happy to report that our students had great improvement in social studies, as you heard, and for this they deserve a round of applause. We have also improved significantly in English with 85.7% pass. We want to go ahead in for 90, we end up with 85. Let's still clap. And we are happy that more than 60% of our students have passed 5 or more subjects, including English or maths. This indicates that our students have generally performed well, and many of them are meeting the set benchmark for success in secondary school. But, you all know, I'll say good things, but we pay attention to our weaknesses. But we must pay attention to the number of students who are registering for subjects and are being absent or not submitting SBA. I want to say that sometimes the government of Dominica pays CXC support to students. If we pay money for a subject and you didn't show up to write it, I will reach a stage where we'll ask you to refund the government back its money. We have to, it's true, we have to, the way the world economy is coming, we can't just keep throwing money away. So don't tell me I pay $300, you had $600, we pay 50%, I pay $300 for subjects, and you didn't show up for 4 of your 6 subjects. No, somebody have to pay that money, because the next child wanted this year. Okay? This year's results once again demonstrate that our investment in education is yielding fruits. Education comprises a major component of the national budget and records one of the highest area for budgetary allocation. The government of Dominica has also placed significant emphasis on skills development, particularly with respect to teacher training. Exactly 1 week ago, you witnessed the groundbreaking ceremony of 6 China Aid Project schools. A China Aid project is 6 schools in a package. Among the schools to be constructed is the Goodwill Secondary School, which is earmarked to be a center of excellence for TVET in Dominica. This means that the school will be specifically designed to provide many technical vocational offerings to students from across the island. Within the next 3 years, our students will be exposed to, by the next 3 years, our students will be exposed to cutting-edge TVET equipment and training that is poised to be the most modern TVET facility within the region. I know some people are going to want to come here, especially to be part of our robotics. Let's position ourselves so that we make good use of what we have and we become a good center of excellence so that we might be known regionally, so that people can come to Dominica to study. Because too many times Dominicans have to go to study. Now we are positioning ourselves so that people will come to Dominica to study. Coupled with our educational facilities from early childhood to college, we have invested heavily in human resource development. The Ministry of Education has assisted teachers in pursuing higher education qualification in a wide range of subjects in order to improve the teaching and learning process. Our relentless effort in training staff at the CSEC syllabus to make sure that they master the delivery of this syllabus in the various subject areas has proven beneficial. I want to highly commend Ms. Celestine for the work that she's doing to ensure that our teachers are ready to deliver. Government continues to support our students to ensure that they succeed. Textbook scheme, transportation, uniform, school supplies, school feeding program, payment of school fees and CXC fees, just to name a few. And I say to students, you have no reason not to do well. And we also need to find out why our students sometimes do not perform when we have all of that in place. And this is where the pastoral care at school level becomes important. We cannot just know our students' name and address. The bio data is not enough. We must know where they live, how they live, with whom do they live, if there's food on their table and there's shoes on their feet, and if they have a good place to sleep. True? Because just one of those things, if it becomes a missing dimension, can determine if a child fails or succeeds. So I wish to highlight and give a high thumbs, what do you call it, thumbs up to our students in the area of TVET, because I'm going to wrestle this TVET thing down until I get it standing on both feet. And over the years, we have ensured that all our public secondary schools have offered at least 2 TVET subjects to students. Since I was a secondary school principal, we ensured that our school, every child graduating, had to leave with a TVET subject. Now, some people do not call IT TVET, but when you look at the real TVET, EDPM is a TVET, is a skill too. So even if it's not woodwork and you can maneuver yourself when it comes to the computer and the IT, that is a skill. So it's not just about the woodwork and the carpentry. There are lots of other more fancy things people think that are above the carpentry. That's also considered a TVET skill. One of the areas worth celebrating is our student performance in CVQ. And this morning, all of a sudden, Goodwill School will know. And after you leave this year, you will know that you were always our adopted school. And this morning, we put our hands together for the Goodwill School and their performance at CXC. So therefore, I think you've heard so much this morning, and the strangers, they're waiting, for them to hear their names. They're just sitting there waiting. But as we move ahead this year, I skip a lot of things because Ms. Celestine has said it doesn't make sense to repeat. The Ministry of Education officials will meet. We will go over this presentation again, because while we pay attention today to the top performers, we have a purpose. We have an obligation to pay attention to the 0.05% of students who are living with nothing. Because if the students do not have the capacity for whatever reason to do CSEC, maybe we should start thinking of letting them write CCSLC in 3 or 4 or 5 subjects in fifth form so that they can all. But if when we go back to that, the reason why some children are like that is because somebody paid and they didn't show up, reset. A lot of things coming under reset, Don't forget, as we move into our school year, this year, don't forget we are paying attention to details and we are activating our affective domain in an effort to lift people up. Whatever you have in your head, too many people have degree and thing in their head. Drop it in your heart and embrace people. Embrace people. See people as people. It works, and it works magic. And maybe that is what some of our teachers need. That all you have to ask about this sick mother, how is your mom? Ask the child, how is your granny? The child will know, you know. I had a boy who was coming to school late every day. And one time I called him to the office, because everybody just beating up on him. He says, Miss, either I come to school late every day or I don't come. Because I live with my granny. I have to make her cereal for her and all of that before I leave. I have to make sure she has what she needs for her to help herself to bathe. And sometimes I have to wait for the person that comes in so I can help them. And then I come. So either I reach late sometimes or I just don't come. I felt so sorry. All it takes is a little conversation. Activate your affective domain. And now I present top students nationally in the CSEC 2023 exams. We go by schools. I'm going to try my best to pronounce your name well. But I'm saying that before. If I make a little mistake on your name, please forgive me. Anytime you'd have, either there are certain two vowels when they come together that they give me a lot of trouble. I learned to say the word galvanize after Hurricane Maria. And I'm still struggling with S-A-U-S-A-G-E, sausage. So, no, but true. I'm not afraid to talk about that because that doesn't define me. But please, if I do not say your name correctly, excuse me. Convent High School. Nalini Kopel, 10 ones. Arian Baron, 8 ones. Arian Baron, 8 ones. Safia Etienne, 8 ones. Benisha Morrow, 8 ones. Helen Royer, 8 ones. Kelanda David, 7 ones. Christiana Walsh, 7 ones. Dominica Grammar School, Tia Blondell, 7 ones. Portsmouth Secondary School, Bian Seaman, 10 ones. Kayla Hamilton, 9 ones. Afia George, 8 ones. Riel Seraphine, 7 ones. Talisha St. Louis, 7 ones. GZ Baptist, 6 ones. St. Mary's Academy, Steve Mackenzie, 10 ones. Sev Mackenzie, 10 ones. Adrian Piper, and they said, no, Mr. Piper coming now by us. 10 ones. Kadel Kazimi, 8 ones. Dimitri Hippolyte, 7 ones. 7 ones. Wesley High School, Hope Christian, 7 ones. Aija Brown, Aija Brown, 6 ones. How time flies. When I left Northeast, that person was in first form or second form, eh? Northeast Comprehensive, Nicole Tyson, 10 ones. Renella Mason, 7 ones. Alicia Africa, 7 ones. St. Martin Secondary School, Desra James, 6 ones. Arthur Waldron, Seventh-day Adventist Academy. Cashel Challenger, 9 ones. Brian Coffey, 9 ones. Kaylin Dupie, 9 ones. Janine Cook, 7 ones. And Jamak Elise, 6 ones. Isaiah Thomas Secondary School. Malika John Charles, 10 ones. Dimala Ferrara, 6 ones. Passibru Secondary School. Alia Francis, 7 ones. Maya Bell, 6 ones. The Mario Challenger, 6 ones. Tansha Drago, 6 ones. St. John's Academy, Mindy Libla with 13 ones. We extend all our high commendations and to the students and their parents. A number of other students received a 100% pass in their 8 subjects, but because we were highlighting the ones, and one of those days maybe we'll get a chance to highlight more than that. But we extend high commendations to our schools, our parents, our teachers, our students, the government of Dominica, through the Ministry of Education. We continue to pledge our support to our students because we are determined that every child succeeds, because it's possible. I might be dumb in physics, but I might be a genius in English B. So all of us have our genius inside of us. I again say to our officers and our Ministry of Education people, those who work at the school, the teachers, pay attention to details. Activate your affective domain and bring people up. If you look after people, God will look after you, and He does all things well. God bless you. Jesus loves you, and I love you too. Good morning.
Yeah, well, thanks to the Honorable Minister for the presentation and for highlighting the performing students. Congratulations to the students, all the students, including the top performers and the parents and all other stakeholders, and also the students who did not feature on the list, who got a number of 1s and 2s. They are congratulated as well, all our schools. Visit the Ministry of Education's Facebook page frequently. There's a lot of information out there on the Facebook page and on our website. I know some people do, but I just want to use this medium to advise you on that. We will now entertain your questions if you have any. I know that you're so satisfied with the performance, there might not be any questions, but we open the floor. We always entertain questions because we want to inform the public of what's happening at the ministry. So call in once, call in twice for any questions you may have for us.
Thank you.
Okay, so we don't have any. Excellent. Curtis. Yes, Mr. Matthew.
Yeah, is that okay? Can the minister hear me? Minister of Education?
Yeah, come forward, Curtis.
Yeah, my question is for the Minister of Education. Good morning to you, by the way. My question is about the CAPE exams. 8 years ago, the ministry told us here at a press conference that they would put plans in place to introduce CAPE at the secondary schools. Can you bring us an update as to why Dominica has not offered, up to now, the CAPE exams? The other question is about Chandler Hyacinth, the former PS in the Ministry of Education. I have been told, and I've heard it before, that she has been a formidable personnel at the Ministry of Education. We've not heard too much. Has she retired? And who has replaced Mrs. Hyacinth at the Ministry of Education? Can somebody just at least inform me? I'll ask one or two if I have the opportunity.
Curtis, I will deal with the CAPE component. CAPE exam is designed pretty much for post-secondary, after 5 years secondary. And a few years ago, the State College was not offering CAPE exams. What you would have heard, Ms. Celestine indicated that, you're not hearing me? Oh, sorry about that. Please give me a minute. Yeah, thank you for that. Yes, I was just indicating that in the CXC suite of exams, different exams are written at different times in the like the education cycle of a student in academia. So you would have seen that the CCSLC exams would be at mid-secondary about. The CSEC is end of the secondary 5 years, and CAPE goes post-secondary, yes? So the Ministry of Education, quote unquote, in terms of the education division, compulsory education provision 5 to 16, would not be able to do CAPE exams within our secondary schools. However, the brother Ministry of Education, meaning the State College, that's part of the Ministry of Education, has begun offering CAPE exams, and you would have heard that in the presentation. So that is a feature of the State College in terms of offering for the students, and they have started, and we hope that it's going to continue. You would have realized that the results in terms of comparison of regional averages would be minimal because it's only a few institutions doing CAPE at the moment. You have BTC, you have the State College, and so don't take the results with a pinch of salt in terms of comparisons, because it's very limited in terms of that. Yes? So that should answer your question. So we are offering it at the State College, and that is good. The second component, I cannot answer. Somebody else wasn't addressed to me anyway. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning again to everyone. It's still morning? Yes. I'll respond in my capacity as Cabinet Secretary Curtis. Yes, I do agree with you. Mrs. Chandler Hyacinth has been a stalwart to the Ministry of Education, of course, as a teacher and a principal for a number of years. She's currently on pre-retirement leave, so that's a very simple answer to your question. Thank you, Curtis. She's currently on pre-retirement leave. I think you would have heard the minister and a few others say that I am currently holding on as permanent secretary. Okay. Yep.
Thank you, Curtis. Okay, thank you, everybody. I think you have one question at the back. Come forward and ask the question, sir.
Good afternoon to everybody. I just wanted to bring your attention to physics at the State College. I understood that there wasn't sufficient students to start the physics course, and as a result, there is not a physics course at the State College this year. So I don't know if you're aware of that, and it would be good that we get some information as to why physics is not offered at the State College.
Yeah, thank you for that information. We will do some investigations and see, because at the end of the day, State College is part of the ministry, and we have to ensure that students have the exposure in all subject areas. Thank you for that. Thank you very much, the media. We love working with the media, and we are happy to... Curtis, you have another one? Okay, Curtis, go ahead. So, one last question. Last question.
Yes, I have spoken... Chief Education Officer, I've spoken to a few teachers who told me over the last year and a half, 2 years, that they're a bit concerned about what they claim would be antisocial behavior at some of the secondary and primary schools. My question is, do you know that as a fact, Mr. Dr. Bless, do you know that as a fact that there is in fact antisocial behavior at some of the schools in Dominica? And if so, is there a plan by the Ministry of Education to deal with that situation? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Curtis. I don't exactly know what you mean by antisocial behavior, because, I mean, it's a very broad concept. But I'll tell you one thing. Wherever you have people gather, you have certain behavior, different behavior. The Ministry of Education and the education system is no different. The school is a microcosm of what happens in the community, and from time to time you find the attributes within the community get into the school. At the Ministry of Education, we are very cognizant of that, and we have put a number of structures in place to address, not necessarily in a reactive manner, but in a proactive manner, both student behavior and collaboration within the school and out of the school, within the community, because we know that any student gets out of the school system, goes into the community, and that is a member of the community. And whatever students do at school or whatever happens at school, when they leave school, the same behaviors will transcend through the community. We have programs in place in our schools, a lot of programs. We have our counseling programs. For that matter, we have counselors within the Ministry of Education and at the school system who work with the students very closely in terms of behavior management and the like. We have systems in the school, peer counseling, Yes, a number of our students are involved in peer counseling programs. We have our HFLE, actively the HFL, and I'm happy you mentioned that because this will give me the opportunity now to reinforce the fact and to tell the public that HFLE, Health and Family Life Education, is a core area in the national curriculum. It is equated with all the other subjects like English, maths, and so it is core. And many times we don't appreciate that. And we need to put more emphasis on that because these are the areas that allow students to work with each other. Yes, the respect, all the attributes that we talk about in terms of their attitudes and their values. This is what really promotes those behaviors. The HFLE, even in our social sciences curriculum, we capture some of those areas. So there are structures in the school system. The principals are the head of their plans, they're accountable to the system, but they have responsibility as well. So where there are challenges in the school, the principal usually manages that, works with the other stakeholders, and when it's beyond their reach, then the Ministry of Education intervenes. So like anything else, you will have challenges from time to time within the school system. I don't think it's any different from any other system in the region, any other education system in the region. And we are as a ministry, always working for our schools to mitigate any challenges that we experience. But I must say congratulations to our teachers, especially those on the psychosocial side of things, our guidance counselors, HFLE, and so on, because they have been doing tremendous work. And it's work that you don't see up front. Yes? You don't see, Mr. Tem, talk about the transition booklet. It's work that you don't see up front, but it is work that is very, very important in terms of what students do. And as I indicated, one of the other things we are working on, and we started this year more specifically, is how do we assist our students to transition from primary to secondary school? And you would have noticed just last week, this week, was it? Today's Wednesday, last week, Tuesday, we had sessions for our teachers on how to assist students in their transition, and we have a booklet that students have access to in terms of transition from primary to secondary and how they can cope. Because one thing, the students at the primary school, they have one teacher teaching them all the subjects in many cases. When they get to secondary school, they have now a system where they have different teachers teaching various subjects, and they have to adjust to that. It's very difficult sometimes for students to cope. From July, you have one teacher. In September, you have 4, 5, 6 teachers, and so on. So these are the kind of things that we do. We do a lot of work behind the scenes that you don't often see, but it pays off in terms of student outcomes. Thank you, Curtis, for this question. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. We appreciate your support to the Ministry of Education, and we look forward to continued collaboration. Thank you. The students who excelled and their parents, you might want to come to take a picture at the front with the Honorable Minister and the senior policy persons. We invite you to come forward to take a picture for the media purposes if you want. The people at the back, your names were called. Come forward, please. Thank you.